I've seen too many people rush into a cheap, starter guitar that looks decent in the catalog, only to discover weeks later that the sound is flat, the action is all over the place, and the instrument just feels like a wasted $100. That regret curve is real, and it's why I always pause before I hit add to cart on anything that promises a full-size acoustic for a bargain price. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, because the Yamaha FS5 Red Label is the kind of mid-range option that tries to sit right between the budget-only guitars and the high-end boutique models, and I wanted to see if it actually delivers on that promise. First off, the FS5 isn't a bargain basement instrument, it's positioned as an entry-mid-level acoustic, and Yamaha backs it with a spruce top, mahogany back and sides, and an ebony fingerboard. Those woods tell a story. Spruce is the go-to for bright, responsive tops, and when you give it a light strum you can hear a crisp attack that cuts through a small room without sounding harsh. The mahogany on the back and sides adds a warm, rounded mid-range that makes finger-picking patterns feel fuller than you'd expect from a guitar in this price range. And the ebony fingerboard, usually reserved for higher-priced models, gives a smooth surface that feels almost buttery under the fingertips, especially after a quick, proper setup. What does that mean in real life? I took the FS5 out of the case after a short break-in period and tried it in 3 very different scenarios: a quiet morning practice session in my apartment, a small acoustic set at a friend's backyard barbecue, and a quick recording demo in my home studio. In the apartment, the guitar's projection was enough to fill a 12 square meter space without needing an amp. The spruce top responded nicely to both light strums and more aggressive chord work, so I could practice my rhythm patterns without feeling like I'm playing into a dead acoustic dead end. At the barbecue, the instrument held its own against a couple of cheap laminate guitars that other guests brought. The mahogany body gave the FS5 a bit of natural sustain, so when I played a simple folk progression the notes lingered just enough to keep the vibe warm but not muddy. In the home studio test, the combination of spruce and mahogany gave a balanced tone that recorded cleanly on a modest condenser mic, no need for heavy EQ tricks to tame harsh highs or boost weak lows. Now, who should actually consider buying the FS5? If you're a beginner who wants a guitar that won't make you sound terrible after a few lessons, or an intermediate player looking for a reliable workhorse for practice and small gigs, this model hits the sweet spot. The natural finish also appeals to players who prefer a classic look over the flashy colors you see on many entry-level guitars. The ebony fingerboard and mahogany neck give a feel that's closer to what you'd find on a $500+ instrument, which can be encouraging for someone who's serious about progressing. For teachers, it's a solid demo guitar that can handle the daily wear of student use without turning into a scratch and dent story. On the flip side, there are clear reasons to walk away if you fall into a different category. Advanced players who need a robust low-end thump for flat picking or a louder acoustic that can compete on a stage with a full band will likely find the FS5 a bit shy. The body size is a concert-type shape, smaller than a dreadnought, so the volume and bass response, while pleasant, won't fill a large venue the way a larger-bodied guitar would. Also, because it's not a high-end model, the hardware is basic. The tuners are functional but lack the precise gear ratios you see on premium instruments, which means you might spend a few extra minutes fine-tuning before a gig. Lastly, if you're hunting for a guitar that comes with a built-in pickup system for direct toe amp playing, you'll have to add a separate system, adding both cost and installation effort. The practical strengths of the FS5 are best summed up by the everyday moments it shines in. Its quick response spruce top makes it forgiving for chord changes, which is a blessing when you're still getting comfortable with bar chords. The mahogany back and sides give a warm, intimate tone that works well for singer-songwriter material, especially if you record in a small room and want that roomy feel without overwhelming reverb. The ebony fingerboard, combined with a smooth mahogany neck profile, reduces hand fatigue during longer practice sessions, something you don't notice on a cheap laminate fingerboard that can feel gritty after a while. And because it's a Yamaha, you can count on decent factory setup and consistent quality control. The guitars I've handled from the brand rarely require major adjustments out of the box. Weaknesses, however, become apparent when you start pushing the instrument beyond its intended use. The natural finish, while beautiful, is not as resistant to dings and scratches as a glossy poly finish, so a few rough edges.